What is going on, my dudes and dudettes? Is showing you that's in a serpentarium. So I'm chilling with my Bay of LA Rosy boa, one of this. I've got a pair. Yeah, and today we're just gonna have a little chat about the subspecies of Rosy boas, the taxonomy, and the localities and where it all fits in. Some of it can be quite confusing. There are some grey areas, particularly with the localities and then which subspecies they fit into and stuff like that. A little bit of confusion here and there. So we'll have a chat about it and get through it. Me and you together will have a good one, and it'll all be Denzel Washington, and it'll all be sorted. So there are two ideas with Rosy boa taxonomy. You've got the idea that there are two species or subspecies of the Rosies. That is the northern Rosy boa, which is Lichenora ocati, and the Mexican Rosy boa, Lichenora trivegata. I personally don't subscribe to that idea. It does not make a lot of sense to me because of how different some of them look. They don't all fit into those two brackets, so I've sort of scrapped that idea. Well, I haven't scrapped it, but most people don't really subscribe to that idea, in the hobby at least. They've got 5 subspecies, 3 of them are recognised by everyone, and then the other 2 are a bit on the fence. I personally see the 5 of them. One of them's a bit sketch for me, but yeah, 5 works for me. I can see the argument for 5. So they are the 3 that are accepted by everyone. In the 5 campers or 3 campers would be Lichenora trivegata rufuscan, which is the coastal Rosy boa. You've got Lichenora trivegata gracia, which is the desert Rosy boa, and you've got Lichenora trivegata, which is the Mexican Rosy boa. And there are also then Lichenora trivegata arizona, which is the Arizona Rosy boa, and Lichenora trivegata sasloi, which is the mid-Baja Rosy boas then. Yeah, and this is where it gets a bit complicated. So this is a great example. That's why I've got him, this little dude out. So this is Bay of LA, obviously. So technically it should be a coastal Rosy boa, but you can see it actually has the mid-Baja look of Rosy boa. So this is a bit of a halfway house between the between the subspecies, and that's where it gets a little bit complicated. And that's why then quite often if you've got a locality Rosy boa, it is good to keep them pure, but there are exceptions to that rule though. So if I had something like a San Felipe Rosy boa and I brand it to a mid-Baja Rosy boa, that would not be a cross. It wouldn't be a locality Rosy boa anymore. It would just be a mid-Baja. And the reason for that is all San Felipes are mid-Bajas, but not all mid-Bajas are San Felipes. Another way of analogy of it is all elephants are animals, but not all animals are elephants. So that's something to keep in mind with them. A cross would be if I bred, say, a Mexican to a coastal, that then would be a cross. And there's a lot of stuff like that about. I've got stuff like that are crosses. They make great pets still, but they're not pure subspecies, and they should never be sold as pure subspecies. Just the same as a non-locality animal shouldn't be sold as a locality animal. That's how things get messed up then, especially in the UK, where we can't really import too much from America as far as Rosy boas, just because of the cost, and it's not really viable. So here I've got my male Mexican Rosy boa, Lichenora trivegata, and these guys are absolutely gorgeous. You can see how pretty they are, and you can see why now I'm not in the camp of linking them up and stuff like that, because if they were linked up, these and the snake I had just now would be sort of in the same group, but not really. You could count them in either group, because mid-Baja or sasloi would be part of these. They would be part of the Northern Territory ones, but they also have the look of some of the ones lower down south, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have it like that. That's sort of my argument against that idea. The Mexicans are most people's favourites. I really like all of them. The ones I'm not too fussy on would be the Arizona and the Gracia. I'm not overly keen on them. It's not that I don't like them at all. You know, don't get it twisted. But they're not my absolute favourites. Mexican, Coastal, and Sasloi would be the my favourites, my top picks. But I do love them all. And it's mad as well, like the difference in variation. Even of different Mexicans, of the saddle pattern. Well, not the saddle pattern, but the saddle width. There, some of them have got really wide saddles. Some of them have got much narrower saddles with more of that off-white colour in between. So there's a lot of variation in between different individuals in the same subspecies, and that is because of the locality influence on the original animals that were bred. But you can't just assume the locality. You can't take a look at this animal and go, oh yeah, this looks like a San Indigo, right? It does look like a San Indigo, but you can't just call it a San Indigo because I don't know what it is. It could be anything, so it's just a Mexican then. And there's nothing wrong with just a Mexican at all, it's just as good looking as if it was a San Indigo, so it doesn't really matter too much. I am a bit of a purist with the localities, but at the same time, if you were to breed a locality animal to a non-locality animal, as long as it's in the same subspecies and you don't sell the offspring as locality animals, I really don't have a problem with it. It really doesn't matter at all as long as you don't sell them as locality animals. And the reason why I say that is, like, a lot of the morphs, they're in locality sort of sections. Say for example the San Felipe Ghost, and I know there are a couple of them in the UK, but they're not that many. And if you were to only breed them to San Felipes, I don't think the bloodline would survive. And not only that as well, I know some people have only got one San Felipe Ghost and they can't get another one or a San Felipe at all, so then they just don't breed it. But I personally would say it's a better idea just to breed it to a mid-Baja, because the babies are still mid-Bajas, and then you just sell the babies as mid-Baja het Ghosts. You see what I mean? That's what I'm getting at there. Obviously it's your snake, you do what you like with it, but that isn't a cross at all. That's just not a pure subspecies animal anymore, So yeah, that pretty much ends that little side tangent. As far as size goes with the locality animals and the subspecies, it does seem that the coastals are the largest. I found that my coastal has grown much quicker than any other Rosy I've had. And I know that my cross Rosies, they do have coastal influence, and they do seem to, be quite a bit bigger than a lot of the other Rosies that I've got, which is really cool to know if you're, looking for a bigger animal. A friend of mine does have, he's got alpine coastals, and I'm supposed to be getting some of those babies off him. I can't wait for that. And his female, believe it or not, had 13 babies. So you can imagine the size on that. Most Rosy boas only have between, say, 1 and 6, somewhere between there. Normally they have more than 1, but normally it's not any more than 6 either. Do you see what I mean? So it's normally in like the 3 to 5 sort of range. So to have 13, that's a big difference in there, guys. You know what I mean? So yeah, that'll be it for today, guys. If you've got any other questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for tuning in and having a look at my snakes. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.